this is Average Joe PT, and on this episode, Scully and I, we're going to talk about shoulder pain. We're going to talk about where the heck is that shoulder pain even coming from? Why is it traveling down my arm? Is it really coming from my shoulder or my neck? And what are the ways I can do to try and fix this? Or at least, what should I do if I start to have these symptoms? So I want you to stick around. Now, whether your shoulder pain is coming from a fall, or whether it's coming from maybe something hit you, or maybe you just slept on it wrong, or it just feels like it just hurts for no reason. Let's just go over a few basic things when we talk about that shoulder. There's 3 bones that make up that shoulder. Your collarbone, your shoulder blade, and that arm. These 3 things together essentially make up what we call your shoulder girdle complex. If anything is wrong with that arm, any of those 3 bones could be causing that issue. It could be a muscle, it could be the bone, it could be cartilage, it could be the labrum. All these different things could be causing that pain in your arm. Now, the main one we're going to talk about is the supraspinatus. That's right, supraspinatus. That thing is huge. And that's really the number 1 rotator cuff muscle that causes a majority of the pain, and it's also the one that actually has to have surgery more times than not. And that muscle specifically, if you look at it on that beautiful model, it's essentially going in this side and coming out that side. And when you kind of land on it or get hit, or maybe slide forwards on a baseball field, or say you get in a car crash or fall and you kind of brace yourself, you can damage that particular muscle, that supraspinatus, or the SS muscle we call it for short. And that muscle can and will give you a referral pattern down that arm into that elbow, and it feels like your pain is actually your elbow. You might think you actually hurt your elbow, and it's not. It's actually coming from that rotator cuff way up there on that top. So I wanted you guys to stick around. I got some more information for you guys, so stay tuned. Now there's all kinds of information on the internet talking about how do you strengthen the rotator cuff. How do you improve the pain of the rotator cuff? I'm going to give it to you simply. There's only a few things you can do, and I'm going to tell you right now, after 20-some years of experience, if you injure that rotator cuff, what can you and what can't you do to actually make your symptoms better and hopefully not injure yourself again? So I want you guys to stick around for that information, because that's very important. All right, now, what can you and can't you do when it comes to this shoulder? If you try raising that arm up, it's going to kill you just where that shoulder injury is coming from and where those tendons attach from. So what we want to do is we want to take a pillow or something and just give it a few days of just unloading and resting that muscle group. And what does it look like visually? Let me just show you on this model right here. And you can actually see where that muscle sits in there. And when it comes through the other side, you can see when you rest your arm like I'm showing you with that pillow, you can see how it puts that muscle in a nice shortened position, and it gives it time to hopefully heal a little bit. Any muscle like this rubber band that's on stretch constantly is not going to heal. You want to keep that a nice shortened position and allow that area to give it a break. And you might want to unfortunately be like this. Sleeping at night can be difficult. I try and tell people to stay in a recliner chair for a few days. This can kind of support their arm a little bit better. Put some ice on it. Take some anti-inflammatories. And then go ahead after about 3 or 4 days, throw the pillow away, and then go ahead and just gently start moving that arm again. So that's, I tell you, if anything, that's probably the most important thing to do is ice it and rest it and take some anti-inflammatories. Now I got a bunch of different tags all over the place. I want you to click on that when it comes to shoulder pain. All types of treatment. I got strengthening exercises. I talk about when is it appropriate to do those strengthening exercises. When is it not appropriate to stretch that shoulder? If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'd love to hear them. So I want you to stick around for just a few more seconds with me I'm going to tell you something that's really important about the rotator cuff that probably no one's going to tell you about because they're probably too scared to. So stay tuned. When we talk about shoulder pain, I don't want you to be discouraged that your pain's not going to go away. Oh my heavens, I have a tear in my shoulder. A lot of times that tear in your shoulder doesn't mean you need to have shoulder surgery. It could literally, you could have had that small tear, or we call a micro tear, for years in that muscle or that tendon, and you never were the wiser. You kind of inflamed it, tweaked it, and it started giving you some symptoms, or maybe you just landed wrong or slept wrong and it seemed to bother you for a few days. So some of these techniques, like the icing, the pillow positioning, the ibuprofen for 3 or 4 days, and then go and click on some of my exercises for the shoulder, like the passive motion with a cane, some basic general strengthening exercises, with maybe a band, okay? So you can go ahead and try a few of those. When it comes to resistance exercises or strengthening exercises, you definitely want to give your body 2 weeks. Give your body at least 2 weeks to recover from some sort of inflammation or trauma to it before you even think about strengthening. You want to get your range of motion back. You want to get the muscle pain to calm down. You can go ahead and link on a few of those. I have all kinds of techniques on reducing muscle pain. I show a Theracane in one of my videos. If you guys have any questions at all, like I said, we'd love to have you, Scully and I, as a subscriber. Ring the bell. We try to bring content a couple times a week. Okay, until next time, Scully and I always like to say, look up and keep smiling. See you next time, folks.